What's up everyone? Welcome to Crypto Maximalist. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like and subscribe and then hit the real subscribe button, which is the bell icon. We're posting 4 videos every day, so make sure to check back every single day. We've just hit 20k subscribers, so thank you all so much. Let's get to 30k and get a deal in the description if you haven't already. Plenty of free crypto and goodies down there. This is not financial advice. Welcome to Crypto Maximalist. Let's begin. What's up guys, so just before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe and the bell icon. People aren't seeing our content and this is probably because you haven't hit the bell icon. Thank you again for all your support. The algorithm is slamming a lot of content creators right now, so we really appreciate all your support. And we're so proud of the amazing community that we built, so make sure to jump into the Telegram and the free Discord. So we're just taking a look at Olympus DAO here, and we haven't actually looked at Olympus before, but we do know that a lot of people that follow us are interested in it. Obviously, we talk a lot about on our Twitter, on our Discord, for example, that basically, you know, we talk a lot about passive income. We mentioned Time a lot, which is, you know, obviously originally was a fork of Olympus, but it's become its own entity now, almost completely. And essentially, you know, these DAO projects, these reserve DAOs with the massive APYs and, you know, just amazing passive income opportunities to accumulate these tokens. You know, a lot of people, we've been seeing basically just how popularity they've been getting. They're just absolutely incredibly popular, aren't they? People are really interested in just being able to buy something with a big APY and just see basically what happens to it and accumulate basically over a long period of time. They obviously have the nice calculators on their websites as well, which are obviously super bullish to see. But obviously with Olympus basically, you know, slowing down their APY considerably now to basically try and focus on limiting the supply and therefore increasing the demand and the price as a result. It's quite an interesting, you know, experiment really, isn't it? They had a massive APY initially, so everyone aped in. And then obviously this chart is very interesting, by the way, because obviously it's kind of a lesson in economics, isn't it? When you think about it in that kind of in those kinds of terms of supply and demand, you can see massive FOMO at the start of the project because the APY is absolutely huge. And then obviously we get the huge correction as a lot of people, you know, they're basically just traded, and they see that they make a massive trade. What they get in at like $200, $300, it pumps all the way up to $1,500. They get the 5x. People start to sell off because they've been obviously staking their own as well, accumulating more tokens with the massive APY. And then obviously the price action, it falls all the way down massively in May, doesn't it? As people get out, it comes back down to it, you know, pretty much where the project launched at, down here, at least on this chart. You can see here, we were down here at $142. We got down to this swing low at around, you know, $163 here. We start to bottom out. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, there's a massive amount of supply being minted because of the staking. So obviously as the circulating supply increases, a lot of people, you know, it's basically diluting the price, isn't it? There's more, it means that it's harder and harder for the price to go up. There's just more and more tokens. So obviously people start to get fearful as well once the price starts dropping. So people sell off. There's a huge sell off. There's because of the massive amount of minting that we saw. And then obviously we get down to this really strong area of demand where the price is just way too oversold. Then you can see here on the RSI as well, we've got oversold here pretty much. We've got some really nice bullish divergences. Obviously the price action flattening out here. RSI starting to move back to the upside. And you know, afterwards, what's interesting is once you get to that certain point where people start to think, okay, this might be a good entry again. Even though, you know, we've seen such crazy dilution with all the minting that we did see for Olympus. You know, they have started tapering off their APY over time as well. So the APY consistently has been going down throughout this period, but they're still minting a lot of tokens, right? So the more circulating supply that does obviously come into the market, in theory, it should dilute the price and you know, make the price go down. But as you can see here, obviously as the price got down to this area here, it's kind of come in waves, hasn't it? And you can see we've got this first push to the upside where it looks as though, you know, people start to FOMO back in thinking, well, this is a great entry and I can get the APY. And it doesn't matter what the price is because I can keep minting more and more tokens. And if I just hold it for long enough, then eventually I'll make a really nice profit. And obviously this is a good mentality to have if you believe in a project for the long term. We do think a lot of farmers also started to realize about this project here after the massive pump and the massive dump that we saw. We saw, you know, throughout May, June, July, obviously there was a huge amount of DeFi popping off on lots of networks. And we do think Olympus, you know, this was a farm that did start to get more and more recognition and more, you know, hype around it as time went on. And you can see the waves of people FOMOing back in, and then people here that were probably, you know, stuck in up here thought, okay, well, I'll just get out maybe at break even or close to break even, because they've been minting tokens this whole time, haven't they? All the way down and back up. So if the price comes back up to here, maybe they drag their average entry down to here and they break even, and they go, you know what, I'm just going to get out and cut my losses and basically get out with most of my money. And you can see there was another sell-off because of that, and we come down to that previous, you know, swing high resistance turned into support. And then we get another FOMO run, basically, you know, another wave of people getting in and going, you know what, I can get into this and I can hold it for a long time and make a lot of money. And, you know, there's people that have literally held this for this entire time with absolute diamond hands, and they've literally made millions and millions of dollars, most likely, even if they only bought, you know, like $5,000, $10,000 of ohm at the start, just because they've been printing this whole time, haven't they? And I mean, if you start off with what, 100 tokens? 100 tokens at $100, let's say, so $10,000. I mean, it's pretty likely, in our opinion, that if you've been printing like thousands and thousands and I mean, just for an example here, let's just say ohm starts, you know, we've been going for a full year, the APY is like 60,000% or something. Like, you're gonna make millions off of $10,000 if you got in at $100. Like, you're still at your entry point, aren't you? If you're, let's say you're getting at $200 a year ago and it's almost a year later and you've been printing this entire time, like, you don't care about the price action, do you? You just care about getting more and more tokens. And if you've been printing those tokens out this entire time and you're at break-even price, like, you're going to be making an unbelievable amount of tokens, aren't you? The more and more and more it compounds. So it's a really interesting, you know, kind of lesson and experiment in economics, really, and how like market sentiment works and supply and demand. And what's interesting now is obviously the market. A lot of people are probably, you know, they cut their losses here because of the market sentiment. The market's been super bearish recently, but you have to think about how much Olympus are now tapering off their printing. They're basically bringing the APY down massively, and it's interesting to think that now the supply is being tapered off so much, especially now we've hit this area of support again. You can see here we've come down to an area of support here. It'll be interesting to see what happens, really, won't it? If we basically come back to the upside like this, with the supply getting, you know, the minting basically getting lowered and lowered and lowered, which means technically the supply is going to, you know, start to taper off in terms of the printing, which means that potentially we would see more increased demand. And obviously, if that's the case, then we could see an increase in price back to some of these highs again. And I mean, congratulations to anyone who's still holding. And if this happens, you're going to be making, you know, literally millions of dollars if you put anywhere close to a decent amount of money in at the start. So very, very interesting indeed, this whole project. I mean, it's very hard to do technical analysis on it in a conventional manner just because of the sheer amount of printing that does go on. The dilution of the supply does mean that it's very difficult for the price to go up in a conventional, you know, crypto bull market fashion. But as we said, you know, most of the gains are made from the amount of token printing that there is from people who basically buy and stake and hold. So very interesting indeed. And as we said, I mean, even if the price goes sideways for investors for a year, 2 years, 3 years, they're going to be very happy, aren't they? Basically, like, they don't even need the price to go up. They just need it to stay, you know, not going down from the sheer amount of printing. So overall, we'd say Olympus in general, you know, it's just going sideways, isn't it? And this is what's going to benefit holders probably the most. So we're in this big range right now, and until we break that, you know, we'd say continue going sideways. But as we said, with the tapering off of the printing, we could see an increase in demand and that decrease of supply, which would, you know, see potentially ohm coming back up for a third wave towards that top of the big range, up at around that, you know, over $1,000 level. So we'd say, you know, short-term price predictions, if we roll over, you'll see a big support in and around that $160 mark. And heading to the upside, you need to be getting up, you know, through these swing high levels, don't you? Let me just throw the Fibonacci on here, actually, of this whole move, something like this, and then you can see the targets if we're moving to the upside again of what you'll be looking for. Just save this onto the chart as well for future reference. You can see here, you know, these fib levels are actually being respected lovely, aren't they? High to low, you can see resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. We run all the way up to almost the all-time high, you know, finding support here, but then rolling over, support, but we lost it, and then we've come all the way down here, and you can see our targets now, can't you? I mean, that 023 will be the first target at $270. So overall, Olympus, you know, a very interesting project indeed. It'll be really interesting to see what it does in the future as it continues to taper off its printing. If there's an increase in demand, and how much, you know, the price will go up as a result. I'd like to thank everyone so much for their support. If you've got any questions or suggestions, please leave them down below, and don't forget to subscribe and then hit the real subscribe button, which is the bell icon, to stay up to date with 4 videos we post every single day. Remember, if you want to support the channel more directly and get a ton of benefits and insight, as well as joining our growing community, consider the Patreon or YouTube membership down below. There are 3 tiers giving you access to our private Discord. Crypto support is available if you just want to help us out a small amount. Crypto Maximalist is our main tier, which gives you access to detailed daily technical analysis and signals, weekly and monthly coin calls, and insights into our personal moves, while Maximalist Gold takes it a step further, giving you an insight into our personal portfolio tracker, super low cap gem research, and a 100x portfolio we're constructing and updating, and access to us personally as a resource to discuss your portfolio via Messenger. Make sure to check it out. You can also sign up to our free Telegram and public Discord via the description as well. All the links are in the description for affiliate links for discounts and free crypto, so go check them all out below. There's plenty of goodness on offer. Please like and subscribe. We are Crypto Maximalists.